Next House Copenhagen is one of the most affordable places to stay in central Copenhagen. It has a great location right in the centre of the city, just a few minutes from the central train station and Tivoli Gardens, one of the most beautiful amusement parks in the world. But is the affordable price tag worth compromising on the almost capsule-like beds in dormitory style rooms? Coming up in this episode, let's review our 2 stays at Next House Copenhagen. Hey, this is Stu for Out and Back Travel. Here on this channel we make videos like this one, and we also have a podcast for advice and inspiration for travelling to theme park attractions all around the world. If you like what we do and you found this video helpful in some way, please show your appreciation by dropping a like, leaving a comment and consider subscribing, as that really helps us out on YouTube. In April 2023, we travelled around Denmark and Sweden. Our trip was bookended by staying the first and last night of our tour at Next House Copenhagen, so we actually stayed twice, and I'm pleased to report the experience was very consistent. If you're thinking about a stay at Next House Copenhagen, or it's come up when you're searching for accommodation in central Copenhagen, it's because it's doing 2 things really well: price and location. The location is fantastic. It's less than a 10-minute walk from the central station. It's a very direct walk too. It's straight down the street, so it's super easy to find your way. For us as theme park fans, it's got a great neighbour in Tivoli Gardens, which is literally 1 block away. Tivoli Gardens is a breathtaking amusement park with classic rides and just a magical feel. It's always worth a trip when you're in Copenhagen. So let's review how we found our stays at Next House Copenhagen and go over some tips to get the most out of your stay if you're thinking of booking. Next House Copenhagen describes itself as a luxury hostel. The rooms are mainly unique pod-like bunks. We'll do a full room tour in just a second. The hostel has a total of 433 rooms, sleeping 1,650 people. So this is a large-scale hostel, and some reviews actually describe it as more of a hotel with dorm rooms, which I could completely see. So hopefully this gives you an idea of the absolutely giant scale of the place. It's absolutely vast, yet somehow it does feel warm, friendly and welcoming, possibly helped by the more than adequate number of facilities in offer that easily soak up the crowds. In fact, their FAQ on the website made me really laugh. Do you have a bar? Love the answer. No, we have 5. Fantastic. There's definitely a great atmosphere in the bars on an evening. Especially love the car seats. There are also special tables to encourage solo travellers to make new friends, and lots of communal activities like shuffleboard, beer pong, table tennis, pool and even a pop-up tattoo studio. The atmosphere at Next House has a real buzz. It does feel welcoming and friendly. The place has lots of facilities in offer. There's an indoor sports arena where people are playing football and dodgeball, a cinema room, a yoga studio and a gym. There's also lots of activities going on. They offer tours around the city, pub crawls, and they're also inviting us to play musical bingo when we checked in. Checking in was done by self-service kiosks, and this was probably the most frustrating thing about our stay. It just was incredibly long and faffy, as you had to enter so much personal information about each of the travellers, and when you're travelling in a large group as we were, this is quite time consuming. It's also a little annoying, as we booked direct with Next House, that we couldn't pre-register or save our information, as we had to do it all over again when we came to our second stay here. After you've finished entering all your details, you validate your own room key cards and a room number is printed out on a receipt. A good tip though is to book direct with Next House Copenhagen. We did this and we added on the breakfast, and this was actually still cheaper than we found the rates through Trivago, Booking or Expedia. So a nice little tip there. I would recommend the breakfast, and true to the hostel's heart, it feels casual and a fresh take on the concept. It was a large-scale buffet with self-serve panini presses to make your own toasted sandwiches. You also had toast and cereal, coffee and juices on offer. So let's take a tour of the room. The rooms are a mainly 4 or 6 bedroom dorm, which are female only or mixed gender arrangements. You can also privately book the entire room for just your group, which is what we did. And they offer a limited number of private double rooms. which can also be booked for a single occupancy. In the dorm rooms you get single bunk beds which are almost like capsule pods due to the big cocoon walls that surround them. It can feel a little claustrophobic, however the mattress and bedding was really comfortable. The side of the bunk do have these big circular openings and there's no curtains or screens, so it's not the most private if you're in a communal situation. Each pod has a double power outlet in the ceiling and an overhead light, which has a standard USB port. There's also this pouch on the wall which we use to hold our phones so the cable doesn't hang in our face while it's charging overnight, but I'm not sure what it's actually for. I guess you could pop some valuables and bits and pieces in there so you don't lose them. All the bed linen and towels were provided. The double rooms and 4-person room types have the shower and toilet inside a single private bathroom. However, in the 6-person room, this gets separated into 2 rooms, one with the shower inside and one with the toilet inside, which is quite handy for lots of people trying to get ready at the same time. There are also communal toilets and showers available near the fitness facilities, which were very clean and we found helpful when sharing a small space between a lot of people. It was a bit more time efficient for some of us to go down and get showered and ready downstairs. The shower room had a heated floor, which was very nice. It did have a sliding door with a simple catch as a lock, so it wasn't the best for privacy. The light in the shower room was also on a sensor, which is in the entry part of the room, which would go off after 45 seconds, leaving you showering in complete darkness. So we found we had to take our phones in and leave the torch on so we could find a way back to the sensor when the light went off as we were trying to shower. Our room also had a separate toilet room with sink and hairdryer. Thankfully this one had a more solidly closing door and conventional lock. I also like there were hooks for everyone's towels and each hook has a number which corresponds to the bunk that you're sleeping in. There was also numbers on the storage lockers. Everyone has their own designated space in the room, which is quite handy and well thought out. Each bed does have a locker which you can fit a carry-on size bag inside. I'd say if you're travelling with a backpack or a suitcase, you'd probably have to take your valuables out and leave them in the locker and then put your bag inside your bunk when you're not there. Overall the rooms are quite snug. It helps if the people you're sharing with are very close friends. I did appreciate the cocoon-like feel to the pods, which were very comfortable to sleep in, and it's also fantastic they provide towels and linen. I would recommend booking these rooms privately so it's just your group using it. I think the privacy and space for luggage isn't that great when you're thinking of sharing these on a communal basis with strangers and fellow travellers that you don't perhaps know. I think they could at least do with a curtain inside the bunk so you can at least have some privacy while you're sleeping. So that concludes our thoughts and feelings on staying at Next House in Copenhagen. This place is pure vibes. You get such a great feeling as soon as you walk in the door. It's so welcoming, fun, and has a really great atmosphere. It does the communal areas so well and they're so inviting to spend time in. And this is maybe a good thing as the rooms are very snug and they are more just for sleeping in. It's great that there are so many kind of good communal spaces available. Although it is a very comfortable sleep, I will say that I had a great night's sleep. However, the tight space and few wiggly compromises, especially on privacy, means I would only recommend staying here if you book the room privately for just your group. I'd be interested to know if you'd stayed in the dorm in a communal way and how that experience was. Let me know in the comments below. I do feel this is a great introduction to hosteling for those who haven't tried it before. We were staying with our extended family, so my parents, who did stay in a private double room, absolutely loved the atmosphere and experience of staying in the hostel. I think that the value for money coupled with the amazing location make Next House Copenhagen a serious contender when you're looking for accommodation in Copenhagen. But let me know, what do you think? Would you stay over in Next House Copenhagen? How would you cope with the pod-like bunk beds and tiny rooms? Would it be worth it to have all the fantastic communal activities and spaces available? Or do you have another go-to accommodation when you're in Copenhagen? What's your tips for staying over in Denmark? Let me know in the comments below. And remember, until next time, stay safe on the way out and back.